Only 8 years.
Quentin Schwartz, current city commissioner, 206 South 6th Street. Been here 30 years as well.
Excellent.
Okay. Nominations for chair and secretary. Nomination. Tim Stevens for chair.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed by the same. Motion carries. Oh, secretary. God almighty. Lisa. No, I'm.
Volunteers.
Well, secretary, all they have to do is.
Minutes.
Man, I'm worse on that.
Why don't we just say that works for minutes? And then we.
That's
can
what
listen to
Yeah.
it.
That can, and
Yeah,
it just.
you can. And then we just,
audio recording?
yeah, we'll just put bullet points down of times.
Right.
when
But do we
it's-
still need a placeholder body?
Yeah. I'll do it.
I nominate
Definitely.
Lisa.
For a second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Oh, yeah, you're supposed to. Run
No.
now.
No, I'll do it. I'll do the future meetings.
No, that you're in charge now.
Oh, yeah.
Because we just nominated you. We just voted.
Here we
you
go.
in.
Yeah, so roll call.
Yeah.
We did roll call as well.
Then we got new business.
Mhm.
And it looks like we're starting with reviewing the resolution that the city passed to enable this body. So who's gonna walk us through this? Quentin or Lisa?
This is just a legal document.
Yeah, it's just a,
Showing that we're an ad hoc committee. Along with your.
Well, do folks have any questions or clarifications based on this? I mean, my just sort of framing issue with these bullet points is we are recommending sort of arenas become buckets of funding, and then recommending how much whatever resources are made available to this process, approximately by percentage, how much we would recommend the city put in each one, and then whatever any additional recommendations the city commission needs. And I'm just clarity question. That does not mean us saying we recommend these organizations for your consideration, or is that potentially inclusive in the recommendations?
Well, here's one thing that's not in here is application for the funds, or am I?
this would include ultimately an application process and determination of how the funds are spent. So it could become, and I don't know if the intention is to have this committee do it or set up
Well, because
a separate ad hoc committee to do the actual, like, almost like a grant application process where people submit an application for funding, it gets evaluated and a recommendation goes up to the commission as to whether or not it's funded.
right.
But has the city not collected?
That's the thing I want to.
We have requests already. Some had asked for expedited funding, and that was the commission decided that they wanted to do this process and kind of move through developing the buckets, understanding where we needed alignment on need versus funds. And so we do still have all those kind of in a queue.
So we could, per this final bullet point, make specific recommendations
Yes.
based on the request that you've already gotten.
Right, requests and needs of city and stuff.
Mhm.
So at this point, do we need to publicly?
I don't think not yet. I think we look
Advertise
at
that.
the buckets first.
Okay,
And then we'll talk through what we
See
want the
what's left.
process to look
Yeah.
like, what's
well, then like,
what's potential eligible and what isn't.
right, because your wife's involved with Food Resource Center, and, I talked to Michael beforehand about staffing.
Yeah, and that one I'll have to bow out. I won't bow out of the conversation.
Yeah, but I'm saying there's things like that
Right.
and asking,
Mhm.
and, that have applied, so, yeah,
Although for conflict, you may not have to bow out
I don't think so.
of a vote because you don't individually.
It puts
benefit
money in
or
my
profit.
pocket.
Yeah, he does.
Like that would directly fund my wife's
Yeah,
position, so,
he needs to.
Oh.
yeah.
Oh,
Whereas-
But then what?
Because I thought it was funding the other position,
But then what you were,
not hers. But either way, we can talk
It's-
that through when we get
It's
there.
just best.
But
But
either,
we
it
might not
does,
even
for
be
sure.
doing that, because what. it
This goes
sounded
to the
like is we're-
commission.
We're saying there's buckets.
Yeah.
And
Right.
we're not gonna, on this committee, say the best bucket is the food resource center, right?
Well, the buckets,
I mean,
will-
that's what I'm trying to figure
I
out.
think the buckets are like by type, so there are really 4 eligible
Right,
things
the
that it can
ones
be
they
spent on, so
outlined.
there's, as I kind of have it in my head, and it's really up to all of you, is there's 4 buckets.
Uh-huh.
And X amount of money is in each bucket, depending on what we determine the higher needs
Mhm.
to be in the community.
But if it's emergency services or feeding hungry, you can't, you know.
It's
you're-
awful.
You don't have to, bow out of that one because you're.
No, yeah, no, the only thing I have to bow out on is
Is
if
if money
we,
is transferring.
If it's funding
Absolutely.
per
yeah, if we
position.
say we recommend you fund the Livingston Food
Yeah.
Resource Center, like I can't take that vote,
I
but I
know.
can take it up to that point.
Yes.
Although I don't, it probably would look better if you didn't, but
Right,
the city commission. won't vote
Yeah.
on this.
Right, the
You're
city
just making
commission
recommendations.
well, actually.
But I
allocate
understand to
funds.
make it look better.
Yeah.
Any other?
Got a question. So I saw in the paper that trash is going up 20% along with other city services. Can we use this money to avert a price increase?
Here's how this works.
Yeah,
If you,
I mean,
if you, if do you mind if I jump
Yeah,
in?
no,
I would
no,
love,
jump
if
in.
no one else minds.
Yeah, these, so the rate increases are based on some capital improvement projects. It is also based on cost of doing business going up, including fuel cost. We haul our trash out of town
Well, someone
to
does
be
the hauling,
processed,
yeah.
and someone's got to haul it, and at $5 a gallon, that costs more.
Oh, no, I know.
So,
I'm not arguing about
you
it
know,
at all.
no, got
I
it.
just wanted to know if, I mean, it sounds like those are all things that they say you can apply for.
You possibly
Increased
could.
costs.
You possibly could. The thing that I think if we take a forward look at, there are large capital projects that we need to do. There's about $450,000 worth of projects that are going to need to happen out at the wastewater treatment facility. That helps offset a rate increase in the future if we do those capital projects, just as a for instance, with ARPA funds, rather than increase our debt service, which in turn
Yeah.
increases rates.
Yeah,
So the increases, while they sound kind of grim at 20%,
they're very grim.
it's, but it comes down to, it doesn't come down to hundreds of dollars a month.
But
I'll
the
send you the
garbage is
trash
a
bill.
20%.
I'll send you
So
my
the
trash
other's
bill.
3.5.
Right.
No, it's, all I want is, I'm really interested in just trying to figure out the ebb and flow, and I'd love to hear from the city. I mean, because obviously the city commission or the former manager had ideas for this money. And so I would love to hear what's already in the hopper.
Well, those capital projects at the wastewater treatment plant, that includes.
So that's ARPA funded?
No, oh,
Not yet.
Okay.
It's one of the things that we had planned to
Okay.
ask for
Yeah.
ARPA funding for. One of those is and I'm gonna mangle the name of it completely, but it's like a mixing zone report. It's an engineering report, and it comes down to protecting the river and maintaining our effluent, so what goes
Yeah.
out of the plant. That report is about 80 to 100,000 alone. That can be done with ARPA funds
Okay.
rather than using other funds or increasing rates. One of the things we've also had to do is increase salaries for folks at the wastewater treatment plant so that we can actually get qualified people and keep them. We've churned the entire staff, I think, 3 times in 2 years. And it's just, it's a tough position to fill. And we've finally gotten some parity with the union to be able to bring those salaries up to a more competitive point. So that's what's in some of the rates. To get back to the rate
Because that's gonna
question.
be ugly, guys. So ugly.
There's another thing that's
Yeah.
gonna come up with capital expenditures, when the city hits 10,000
Mhm.
population.
Yes.
It's at 8,200 now. When it hits 10,000, the runoff. That's all stormwater has
Due
to,
process.
has to be processed
Treated.
with those units put in line
Yeah,
with the stormwater
yeah.
runoff system. So I have no idea what that would cost, but we're at 8,200 now.
But I think we did that downtown, right? I think we put that
Mhm.
infrastructure in downtown when we did it, because we know we got.
Right.
So I'm curious, reeling back a second, can you sort of set like the frame for us and say like, what are our sideboards and what's already baked into the cake versus what you're asking us to be original about?
Mhm.
And so, for example, you said that there are 4 eligible buckets. So what's our role there, to endorse those or affirm them or add to them or what? So can you sort of like set the frame for like,
Sure.
our role,
Yep.
et cetera?
Yep.
Thanks, Jim.
Like, yeah, the product. What
Yep.
is the product that we're gonna give the commission? We're gonna say, we recommend,
You're gonna recommend of the, I think it's,
Based on applications and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
yeah, I think it's like 1.8.
because now we're getting back to
total.
applicate, Quentin just brought up applications, and that only makes it more confusing for us,
Mhm.
because we're not.
Well, let's
an
get through the
applicant yet.
first, let's get through
Yeah.
buckets first,
Yes.
and then we'll talk
Yeah.
applications.
Yeah.
That's what I'm.
So in these 4 buckets where there's allowable
Mhm.
expenses, it's, and I've got them right here. So it's responding to public health and negative impacts of the pandemic. There's several different ways you can do that. There's providing premium pay to essential workers. We did already commit about 80,000 to bonus city staff.
Bonus or salary?
Bonus.
Bonus. Yeah, we did that
It
already.
was, it was a premium pay bonus.
Okay.
So we've already, that was spent on the first
And
round,
that
and that
was
was
ARPA.
approved by the commission.
And that was ARPA.
funds.
Okay,
Yep.
gotcha.
You can provide government services to the extent of lost revenue. So like as an example, when we closed down for the pandemic, we couldn't do a lot of in-person recreation programs. So we had to kind of flip and do a very like virtual rec, and we did all these kind of creative things. We lost about 45,000 in revenue
Mhm.
that we would normally have had that would have supported the rec operation. That 45,000 could be reimbursed, made up for by ARPA funds. The final category is making necessary investments in water, sewer, and broadband infrastructure. So it's really that infrastructure piece. Responding to public health could get into things like a social worker at the Food Resource Center. It could, get into capital improvements for some of our nonprofits. If there's things that need to be done there that can be at least causally related to the pandemic.
Mhm.
Or
Is it
enhancing outreach services.
And so it's responding to public health, and what was the rest of that, the first one?
And negative economic impacts.
So
Right
what,
here, Jim.
so other than recreation
Here,
department,
left there.
what other departments?
Right there. I just found it too.
Can you point to
Those are their
us?
bucket one.
Not really many, because people kept building, so we didn't lose building permit revenue. A lot of our other revenue comes out of rates, so people were still using water and sewer, and we didn't really lose necessarily income from that. And most of the property taxes are paid through escrow. So it's really folks that were, that were on like a rent hiatus, but there's a homeowner involved that's still paying that tax revenue. So
So Lisa, so of those 4, and I'm like number 4, we can take off the table because that's a city thing, right? And we can recommend that the city put money into, infrastructure, whatever. But I'm wondering, like, of these, can we tease apart, like, obviously number 1 seems to be most expansive, where we might come back and say, here's what we think we must need when it comes to these, subdivisions within number 1, right? And because I'm just thinking like where there's going to be nonprofit or other agency competition for this money, so that we can clearly define help the city sort of clearly define what's in and what's out, right?
Yep.
Right,
And
and
so-
so that's gonna be number one.
Right, and so that one, obviously, we might want to break out, and again, subcategories, which I'd like to see, but then the premium paid to essential workers, those are just city essential workers, right? So they're not like.
That's my
essential workers
understanding
As
of it.
defined by the government, which would include, county market people and.
Daycare workers
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and all that.
So that's just city.
Okay.
And I can verify that, we wouldn't necessarily be looking to give premium pay to,
That would be a nice.
daycare XYZ, yeah. that
Yeah.
would. And here's.
Well, that's what Patricia wanted
Well, yeah,
us to do. Stand on the corner with $100 bills, hand them out or something, I don't know,
He wants helicopter money.
yeah.
and here's some things that just to kind of keep in the back of your mind with all of this money. The city has a fiduciary responsibility for this money. And we are the pass-through for the money. So just handing out money on the street corner, problematic. I see, and I've talked about this with Paige, our finance officer. If we're going to give it to organizations, they probably should be registered as a nonprofit and have an audit, have adequate financial controls in place, kind of all of those good governance pieces for how they manage this money. So that may take some of the folks out of the mix that are potentially asking for money because they're not meeting that criteria of being a nonprofit or may not necessarily have all the adequate controls in place that we would want.
Are we okay with passing down money to another pass-through entity like PCCF?
I would be, yeah.
Because they house not,
Yes,
but they're responsible to you for the money.
yes.
And so they're
And
responsible.
But they're a 501c3
Yeah.
yes, they are. And we've, they are,
and they have a good track.
for the sake of disclosure, they are one of the ones that has asked for a match for the hoot. Because then those dollars are then matched. So you get a 2-for-1.
If they don't match 2-for-1, don't.
Oh, I thought that's what it was.
5%, 10%. They don't match 2-for-1 by any means. They say match, but it's not a match.
Huh, okay. My understanding was like it was a dollar for dollar.
Nope,
Match.
nope. Read the fine print.
Oh,
I've
It's-
been-
and
it's
that's what
less-
I've been told too. Like
It's less than,
Not
but
unless
it's
it's,
really.
well, maybe for the flood,
No,
Are you
it
talking
was
about-
like just like last year before flood.
okay, because yeah,
Pre-flood.
no, not unless they change something dramatically. Because we got money for, we did it like 3 years ago. And our premium was like 10-15%. I mean, it's still valid,
Oh, yeah.
I,
Right,
and
because
we,
it's still money you
and
wouldn't
we-
have gotten.
well, no, and I mean, and now we funded community closet, we
Right.
funded give it like 30,000 last year.
Yeah.
Because they let all the employees choose $1,000 to give away. It was really great. But
The more they
it's not.
raise.
the more they raise, theoretically, the more the match will be, but it's very limited.
Okay, sure, okay.
Yeah.
It's up to 10,000.
Okay, maybe I need to chat with Gavin.
It's great, it's just, it
It's
isn't
still-
1-to-1.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, then it's still a better deal than
Oh, yeah.
just the.
Oh, well, no, because we do our regular gifts through them. Like we always give Aspen money. Well, after the summer, we give it through Give. Because we want that. I mean, it's sugar.
And we've done that as the city, like that's how we have funded some HRDC programs we've done through the WHO and then it.
Yeah.
it's-
We give a
it's
bunch
like-
of our grants now through PCCF, so that you can match.
Yep.
And whatever it is.
Yeah.
So can I maybe tease this out a little
Sure.
bit then? So the number 2, the premium pay, you'll check, but your understanding is.
I'll
it's
verify, but my
probably just
understanding
government
is that
workers.
we probably don't want to get into.
And it's been done.
And
Yeah.
we've done that.
We've done that for the city employees already.
So should we?
Yeah.
We can, I will check and see if we can do it for other entities' employees,
Okay,
but
yeah.
I don't,
It's
you
a-
guys will need to decide if that's a
That's a sticky
direction
wicket.
you want to go.
Yeah, and then it's sort of like, then do we, if it's not just city workers, then it's sort of like, okay, how does the government define essential workers? And I think it's a pretty long list because.
There's a
It
pretty long
is, it's in their paperwork.
Yeah, teachers,
Okay,
daycare,
consider.
grocery store workers, obviously first responders.
I think it's several dozen.
trades like electrician, plumber, HVAC,
Mortuary worker.
mortuary workers, all that kind of stuff. So I mean, there's like,
Just saying,
yeah, it's like, could you tell us who isn't?
yeah.
That might be
easier.
easy.
And so, and then the number 3, providing government services to the extent of revenue loss to the public. I don't really understand what that means, to the extent of revenue lost due to.
So that's like the recreation
Recreate.
example
The rec-
I gave you of like,
rec
normally
center.
rec would have generated an additional 45,000 in revenue and operations, but because we
To keep
were
the pool
virtual
going.
rec, we couldn't
Okay,
generate the revenue.
and so you were able to make yourselves whole.
We could, we have not utilized that. This is one that
Still
Mike,
waiting, yeah.
Mike and I had talked about it and said, well, you know, you can apply as the rec department through the ARPA
Through-
process.
Show
if
us
you
your
wanted to,
losses.
And then we
Yeah.
can look at where that ended up.
And then the first category is the one that I think is potentially the most expensive and has the most intersection with organizations that might be applying, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
for ones that may be applying, yes.
And do you have those subcategories? Is it in this thing?
Yeah.
Restaurants.
And just to throw it out there, not to muddle the waters, but city's gonna need a new fire truck. Talking about rates, having to go out for a bond.
Yep.
You know, just things like that, you know, trying to,
And my guess is that there's gonna be a little bit of art here in that I think we're gonna wanna show broad distribution to those nonprofits that are hitting the mark when it comes to meeting the
needs of.
and then balanced with some opportunities for the city to advance things and to make sure that we're
Yeah, just out of the
from an
one.
optics perspective.
So I think we have 1.78 to work with. And
Yes.
right off the bat, talking to Paige, we need 400,000
Yes.
for capital improvements, which would be number 4 budget, so.
Wait, Quentin, I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
um,
1.78 million,
I
of
think
which,
that's what it is.
of which 400 has a clear, 400,000
We need to,
has a clear capital
yeah, to the-
investment requirement the city has already identified.
yeah,
And then also the 80,000, this comes off as well for the
that was
premium
a,
paid or essential workers.
That's already in that one. That's already
That was
factored
in
into
a
that
different fund.
1.7.
Thank you, okay,
I got it
So,
now.
because we got a total of like 1.9.
okay,
something.
thank you.
And we funded a new position for economic development and recovery through
through that
through
part.
the extension office.
Yeah, what, I'm trying to remember the. name
Yeah,
of that
Is that
fund that
Kate
came out.
Weaver?
That was out of our.
No, Mary Ann. Oh, no,
Was it Phoebe?
no, it's the other position, the 3-year position.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's a
That hasn't
commitment
been
over,
filled
it's
yet.
like 120 over the course of 3
3
years,
years.
but that's already out of this number. So
Yeah,
the
that's what
1.78 is our start,
Okay,
inclusive of everything we've already committed.
except for 400,000.
Except the 400,000 in capital, because we have not committed that yet. That's just an identified,
And it's primarily
Need.
sewer and water.
yes.
Have you done like an official altar call for people to apply for this money?
No,
That's what I was
We have
asking.
to have some
earlier.
kind of guidance, yeah.
people kind of did it on their own.
Well, that's why I'm
Like, oh,
saying,
you've got ARPA money.
is this
Like,
something
you
that
know.
we need to advertise?
Oh,
I would
Well,
think
Legally
once
or-
once we get to the point where we're talking about what that process will look like, then.
The
then we'll have to
application.
put some stuff out, application template, it's all that.
Because I'm just looking at this was it essential workers here on this.
It's everywhere.
It's
It's everywhere.
harrowing to think that we would put that out there
No, I
and what.
think I would just nix it.
I think one thing that's in the document, that's part of the negative economic impacts, that's obvious to everybody, is restaurants and bars. I mean, they were down for, and in the document, they specify how that can be justified
Mhm.
with financial documents from the,
But I can find that just about any business though too.
Well, and
Right.
I'm
And
wondering-
they
I'm
may
wondering-
have-
Well, yeah, it's not, I'm-
Yeah, I'm just,
And they may have also been able to benefit from business
PPP.
interruption
I mean,
insurance.
yeah.
there was other,
How many
Right.
So
times
that
can
may
you
have
get
already
money?
been covered.
exactly.
right,
And
And I
Because there
wonder,
is a
like,
double dipping clause in this
Oh, good.
funding.
yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
is, and
I
is
didn't
there
know
a, like, we're ultimately gonna have to advertise something. And when we do, are we, i.e. the city, obligated to parrot what's in the ARPA rule, rule?
I would.
And then, like, therefore, do we not have the luxury of not taking out, janitors and sanitation workers, truck drivers, transit staff, public and health safety staff, childcare workers?
any,
I
any
think-
employee,
other
yeah.
school staff,
I
staff
think
in
you
nursing
can
homes, hospitals.
I think you can take out a full category if you want to.
I think I would.
Like if as a committee, you decide that we do not want to tackle the premium pay discussion because there were.
There
the
were other
PP
programs.
There were other programs, there was a PPP payroll protection
Mhm.
program that a lot of folks applied for. There was business interruption insurance that folks could have availed themselves
Yeah.
of, and many did. If that's a stance that you want to take as a committee, you can do that. And just say, okay, the premium pay, we are not
Mhm.
getting into who we're gonna cut.
Picking winners and losers
check
is what it is.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right,
we're
and
doing
it's
that
like-
already, but that really gets down to such a broad.
I think that's a fundamental decision that we're gonna wanna come to sooner than later.
Yeah, no.
And do we, like, how do we have that conversation? I mean, if you look, again, like looking at this list, I'm like, and like these folks have already gotten dollars other ways.
They've gotten enhanced unemployment, enhanced
oh, yeah.
benefits, rent forgiveness. There
You
was,
sent me money and I'm retired. It was the damnest thing I, I'm serious.
My dad said
I
the
mean,
same
there was
thing.
no means testing, there was no anything, they just dropped it.
We didn't get
Stimulus
any way to
checks.
Close the business, so. The other studio,
Mhm.
and for some reason she got rejected. and-
I don't get it, because they were,
uh, uh, uh. So, so do we want to have that conversation about number 2? Do we want to kick the can down the road on that one? Do we need more information? I think what would be beneficial to me is if we did say, no, we're not going to go there with this money, is to be able to clearly articulate where the other resources came for these folks over the past 2
Yeah.
years. And you just ticked off about 5.
Yep.
Yep. And a clear rationale that we can agree with.
Exactly.
Or if we feel like there's a narrow band of essential workers that we want to go for, it just seems like a mess, and everyone could qualify for it, and we'll have a stack of payments, and with $1.78 million, we'll be able to give every person $1.78.
$3.
Yeah. That's it. Essentially, so.
and then have to report all of that,
Oh, God.
because we're the fiduciary. So just
Which takes staff time and
Just keeping it real.
Which isn't built in, so.
Well, the money, I forgot the name of the program that, where money was
Well,
mailed out.
PPE and all that, yeah.
Well, yeah, the equipment and.
stimulus, there was stimulus checks,
Right.
there was PPP, enhanced unemployment. Because I mean, there were some people,
Reimbursement for expenses.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a-
yep, because
yeah.
folks are making more to stay home on unemployment
Yeah,
somewhere than when they were working.
Right.
I think my son still is. It's working it. He's in California. Good for him.
Well, Billy was always smart. Still is. How old is Billy now?
26.
Wow.
Gosh. I remember when you were pregnant with him.
you will now call him William.
Yeah, William.
not Philip.
Yeah.
So,
So I think we all agree that we conceptually are not interested in premium pay. I guess my only question is 80,000 enough for your staff? Should
Well,
more, should more?
I mean, I would leave that to Quentin to argue because as the
Because
HR
your
director,
staff-
I'm always gonna argue that my
Oh, well,
staff deserves more
I know.
money.
And we didn't, and it
You know,
didn't go
yeah.
to,
Department heads.
department heads. Strictly to employees. I mean,
Well,
the rank and file.
we could pose that as well in our
Yeah.
recommendations, if we say, we're recommending that you not consider premium pay for essential workers in a broad sense. However, the committee is interested in your response to, did you do enough for city workers? And might you want to take a look at that? Yeah, for attention.
Yeah, I would definitely be.
They
interested.
actually have a formula here for determining what wages are eligible. 150% of the median wage of the county, or something like that.
I'll put it this way, we are not competitive at any position
I
anywhere.
wouldn't put that in either, I'm not recommending.
Compared to
No, I just wanted to throw that out there
No,
rather than
that-
just
I-
completely taking. it out.
That's awesome.
I'd rather, I'd like to hold that open.
But if you want to just make it,
So
Very narrow, I
it'd
would-
be
I would agree with
anyone
that.
So-
below 70,000.
So if we can, if we can take this meeting and take a few chunks off the table, then we'll know what we want to really dig into in future meetings. And so if we could say, and I don't know if we need to vote on this, if we could say, and if we need a motion, like we're gonna remove recommendations. We're gonna recommend that they don't consider, in a broad sense, providing premium pay to essential workers. However, we do want to hear Karen's language around.
Yeah.
Yeah, we want to make sure we
Yeah.
we're offering enough.
Yeah, and so do we need
That's-
a formal motion for that?
Please.
Can someone key that up?
I'd like to make a motion that this committee consider providing premium pay only to city workers if recommended by the city. How's that?
I love that. There's a second for that,
Sorry.
all right? Any more discussion? Did somebody get that down? 'Cause I'm just slow. You got it down? Massage it?
Mhm.
You wanna read that real quick?
That for providing premium pay to essential workers would be considered possibly for city employees only.
Yeah.
Based on.
That's my notes.
Yes.
All right. Any
now
other
are department heads eligible for,
I have a direct conflict, so I am a department head. So
well, no,
No, but
but I
yes.
mean, are they,
we were not eligible in that round.
okay, but in this
But
round,
you
you
could
probably
be.
would.
Potentially, that would be up to this
Yeah,
group to
because I'd like
decide
to
without my
consider-
vote.
So then let's say, just make sure they know, including department.
Right,
Yeah,
all staff,
yeah.
make it all staff.
Make it-
And so you have enough to work with there. Any other discussion on that one? So we're basically taking most of two off the table other than.
Yeah.
Yeah, that really,
That's
that
progress.
makes it makes it a lot easier moving forward.
It does, it's also having heard usually from the same people, the same,
Yeah, you know who's gonna, yeah.
it's just the city. And I'm not against this, don't misunderstand what I'm saying. But it's in black and white and it only affects the city, so city worker.
But the county has their own pot, right?
County has their own
Well,
pot of money.
affects, yeah. I mean in general, in terms of the general population, so to speak.
So are you saying by that, we don't want to fund a city employee that goes into the county? I guess I'm confused.
No. All I'm saying is that wording will give a lot of ammunition to people who are constantly bitching about the city. And
Guess
so
what,
what? I
Warren,
mean,
they've got it in spades, take a fart in a grocery store, someone's gonna bitch about it.
No, and I
Well,
also,
yeah,
and
that's a good point.
I also think that like what we're doing is we're narrowing. the
Yeah.
scope.
Yes,
And so once we get this done, and once we struck, 4 is already done, and then.
Maybe not entirely.
No, what I mean, 4 is already done in terms of.
It's a bucket.
Prescribed for us.
It's a
Yeah,
bucket.
Yeah,
Yeah.
then we can concentrate the rest of the resources like outward facing and not in.
Right,
inward
on
city.
number one.
Yeah, on number one, and so if it turns out to be 400,000 for the water sewer, it turns out to be, I don't know, another, say 50 to 80 for
Right.
helping, city, then you've got that whole rest of the chunk to make recommendations to work with outside of the city, family.
Yeah.
And that's where we can dig in our time to maybe think really creatively, especially around number one. Like
And
what-
you can say the committee has recommended that we do this in number 2, number 3, and number 4. Here's what we have left for number 1 to work with. So
And whatever we come up with as far as advertising, it can be advertised in the paper, and the final form can be on the city website.
Absolutely.
So
And I
it's
gave-
got total-
gave Lisa an application that the county used, Steve Caldwell gave me. She's
Yep, I
gonna
have it.
So
modify it.
let's close the loop on this too, because you got a motion on the table.
Oh, yeah, we have
We
voted.
need a second.
So
vote.
Warren was the second. Karen was-
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We just haven't voted.
So
We're just discussing.
all those in favor?
Aye.
I'm abstaining
So
because I'm a
4
city
yeas.
employee.
Any opposed? So 4-0 against, 1 abstention. All right,
She's a non-voting member of the committee.
Thank God.
so I have a suggestion for the time that we have left which is maybe we've done our damage here for the time being, and maybe we can set aside the next meeting to really dig more deeply into this, but for the time being, maybe we discuss that second bullet point under new business, which is discuss and consider frequency and duration of future meetings. Will be a lot of time period.
May I make one more quick recommendation? I would recommend doing away with number 3 altogether as a bucket. We've already done an allocation to adjust for the lost revenue and rec.
But that means I'll never get the numbers for garbage. I wanted to find the revenue flow for garbage.
No, number 3 is.
Number 3 is
government service.
replacing lost revenue.
I know. I wanted to see if they lost revenue. That's all.
Garbage?
Garbage.
We can get that for you.
No, yeah. It's
It's
just,
gonna end up happening. We're gonna end up going
Well, yeah,
private on the
it's
garbage.
about 600,000 that we're losing. So garbage will still be running negative because the county pulled out
Yeah.
of our agreement.
That's a
So it's
big part
about
of it.
600,000 down in revenue.
And Republic Services took over
And
the operation of Great Falls that we
So-
use.
well, and if you don't want it, cut it off.
So the only,
Public services is more than happy to buy out. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
that's what it's gonna be interesting. I'm sorry, I can't stop talking about.
it's okay.
yeah,
I
trash
think
talk for trash.
talk.
There is something I believe as a city we're mandated to provide the service. So I gotta check on that.
My only
Pro-
question
I
is,
know all of it.
Yeah.
They can buy it Republican. At any time, the city wants to get out of this business, there's a company over the hill that's dying to come in. That's all I'm gonna say.
But we're providing good jobs.
I know,
Live
that's
up
the
here.
thing, I know.
That's the other thing I look at.
I think.
I know, but it's
I think
gonna-
your rate would be higher.
What?
I think your rate would be higher. I think your rate
Oh,
to have
Going
garbage
with
picked up would be
Republic
higher.
Or
Yeah.
anybody.
I don't know, depends how many trucks they have and when we're buying our next one.
Mhm.
Because really, it's all a matter of equipment. That's
It
the
is.
big capital investment, and if they've got complete, and it's going to big timber anyway. We're right on the way.
So
so can
number-
I ask you about that number 3 though? So is everything that's come in already in terms of what might fit in this category, like the recreation?
Everything that's lost is already lost. And we're back running full steam.
And
we've
everything that-
already made
everything
those
that has
adjustments.
been made whole.
We've made those
And
adjustments.
so,
already. We had
but-
to as part of our budget process.
But there's no other, like, is there gonna be an ongoing impacts? Let's just say, whatever, the rec program, less kids signing up, so you gotta make up that revenue.
We're cranking. There's,
Okay.
I mean, we're writing more programs and stuff, then
Yeah.
we know what to do with at this point between little kids golf and t-ball and all that. So
That's Maggie.
that's Maggie.
Yeah.
So I would say we can probably get rid of number 3.
So but our rationale for that, if someone were to ask me on the street, hey, why'd you do away with the providing government services, the extent of revenue lost due to pandemic, is basically that
We've already
impact-
made it up.
That impact already happened, and we already made it up through the initial round of funding.
Right, and it may actually be ineligible under this round of funding because of the timing.
Oh.
We had lost too early in the
I was
pandemic.
gonna say,
Yeah, so I would take out number 3 and focus your focus buckets on 1 and 4, but that's just my 2 cents, and it is worth exactly that.
Thoughts?
47 minutes, down to 2 buckets.
Hey.
Well, if our folks comfortable with that, and if so, then let's hear a motion and then a
I
second.
make a motion to remove number 3.
I second.
No, this is number 2. Oh.
We
No,
already
I'm
did that.
sorry.
We already did
I'm
that.
sorry,
Number 3.
dummy. It is, yeah, I'll just go ahead.
Okay.
So.
We have motions. Second.
I seconded. Call.
Any other conversation? All those in favor?
Call the question.
All those opposed? No. Abstentions? You have to abstain from this one.
Yeah, this is my department,
Okay, so you're abstaining. So
and I'm
it's
kind of a non-voting member,
Right,
aren't I?
it's kind of like me on URA.
Oh, you're not voting anyways. Okay.
I'm a
So-
All right, so
non-voting
4-0. That's
member
right.
of URA.
So I have it recorded as 4-0 to eliminate bucket number 3.
So
We're down to
let's-
2 buckets.
Yeah, so we're down to 2 buckets, and so let's focus that around the agenda, and so maybe just setting up our next meeting, if we can give some thought to especially 1, and think about the community and what we would propose for at least conversation about what those subcategories might be.
And perhaps get the applications that are already
Yeah,
that have
yeah.
been submitted and
Is there like 50 applications or 5 applications?
6.
Okay.
oh,
yeah.
really?
Maybe
That's
so.
okay, that's good.
So maybe request the applications beforehand, and then
Some of them didn't do formal apps. Hang on one second, I should make sure this is not.
and then get more clarity on what the subcategories as defined. by
Gotcha.
The
Yeah.
ARPA people, but it sounds like we have the flexibility to put forth our own subcategories.
Yeah, that's up to us. That's why this committee created.
And then so going to that second bullet point in the agenda, like what is our expiration date? We have 90 days from the point of what? The passage of a resolution?
The formation of the ad hoc committee. Whenever that was, whatever that date.
Just today,
Yeah, I mean, I would call it from the first meeting.
yeah. Our first meeting, so the clock starts now.
I would say that's
And it
fair.
all has to be spent by 2026.
Oh, good, okay.
Seriously.
I was wondering.
Yeah,
And I'm just curious, will we be hearing more about 4? Like,
Oh, yeah, there's no
Okay. Yeah.
shortage of things that.
That's why it's
we
not
need.
off. Yeah, things are
Okay.
changing all the time.
yeah,
Mhm.
So how often do folks feel like we want to meet, or do you want to do it on a sort of as needed basis, or do we want to set, we're going to meet every Thursday at 5 PM for an hour? So we have.
I prefer more meetings and shorter. 1 hour
Yeah.
meetings
Yeah.
and just, you
We're
know,
kind of powering through it.
Is weekly too much, or every other week, or what do folks think?
I can do either way.
same
weekly.
here.
I'd rather get it done.
Yeah, let's do it
Yeah.
weekly and, we don't have to use up all the time. As soon as
Yeah.
we're done,
And I can usually make 5, my day is usually front loaded to about 3. And
That's
Yeah.
fine.
I'm available.
is there a
Fine.
day of the week, like is our, the only reason I wouldn't want to do it every Wednesday is that I would just miss every.
Farmers market. I was gonna ask. if
Ditto.
there was another day.
Thursday, how about Thursdays?
That's fine.
Thursdays
me.
is great with me. Is this room available, Lisa?
Mhm.
So
Sure
5
is.
weekly, 5 PM, Thursdays, 5 to 6, and we will be religious about sticking to not going over an hour.
Well,
That's
just keep,
fine. That's
well,
fine.
I don't even think we're allowed to extend it. Oh, I suppose we could if we had to. No.
Oh, we could,
Let's not
there's,
get
but
it.
there's an end time in the public notice, so.
Yeah, the public, yeah.
And then in terms of just like setting the agenda, was that clear, Lisa, on what we were hoping to get, which is the 6 applications that we have, any additional information on 4 that the city can provide, and then really diving deep into the other subcategories, which would include what whoever framed this document has set up for subcategories as well, but recognizing that we're not necessarily limited to that.
Correct.
And so we come with our own ideas about other subcategories. So that's a nice meaty conversation.
Right there.
Any other thoughts on next Thursday's agenda?
I don't think we need to review the applications we already have in detail.
I'm just
Because-
kinda curious.
We
Because
just
we
need to
haven't,
have them,
because,
that's all.
yeah, because we haven't determined what's in the 2 buckets yet, so,
Right.
but yeah, but I'll get copies. Some didn't do formal applications. Some did a very nice write-up, some just kind of said, I need money.
And we don't want to make a recommendation on that too. We want to have a very simple.
Yes.
application.
Well, that's why. I
We
gave
need
the
something
county
for the
one.
financial
So how-
control aspect.
So how
yes.
about, so can you give us the, make us a copy of
What I
the
have.
application process? Okay, that'd be great to
Yeah.
have. And if you have, if you want to email it to us ahead of time,
Which, I think I need your email.
CARONCOOPER@yahoo.com.
And the only other thing I'll say, Alice, is that next Thursday, I will have to zoom in because I'm going to be back in Green Bay.
What are you doing there?
My mom lives in Wisconsin and
Oh,
we're reinterring my dad when he died in 2008.
Oh.
We buried him in the middle of freaking nowhere in Florida, and no one's ever going to go to Florida. So my mom wants him near to him, so we found out.
You're from Wisconsin?
I'd like to say I was, but I'm actually from Illinois. But
Oh, that's right. Where
I
in
spent
Illinois?
most of my life in oh, it's right. You're from
Keegan.
yeah, okay. I'm Palatine.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. And so my mom lives in Sister Bay.
Oh, yeah, Sister Bay, beautiful area.
So I could do Wednesday. So we can make, if you want me here live.
I
do
can't.
Wednesday.
It just, oh, no, I can't because I keep thinking city commission, that's.
I
Tuesdays.
can be here too.
I can be here next Wednesday, if
Okay.
that works for everybody.
So next Wednesday, and then
Next
we'll move
Wednesday,
to
and then we'll move
Thursdays?
Thursday.
Got it.
Yeah, if we can do more in person, the better. I
Yeah.
think it
Yeah,
goes
I
faster.
agree.
Okay, so move to Thursdays after that.
Yeah,
And Warren, what is your email address?
wmavies@yahoo.com. Another subtle one like yours. Cryptic.
Tim, do I just use your Candida one?
No, I use my T Stevens MT4.
TNT4 at.
at gmail.com and force the number at gmail.com.
We are having trouble getting stuff through Gmail right now. Just so you know.
Yeah, I got that.
Well, the Candida Fund one is simply a whatever Gmail account that some smart person set up anyway. So, but I missed some of Faith's original communications, I think.
Okay, and we've had trouble with the portal through Gmail.
Well, if you-
Yeah,
Just Gmail.
If
It's a
for some reason
provider,
it's
it's not
not, just
us,
send
yeah.
it to Candida.
Okay. Okay.
So,
Yep.
What else? Anything? Public comments?
If it comes up,
We have,
there's no time with this, help or flooding damage. If somebody wants to conflate COVID with flooding. I mean, there's all kinds of organizations now that are helping tremendously with the
With FEMA and
With the
SBA
flood.
and everything else. yeah.
problem.
FEMA,
Just so we have an
Federal
answer,
Reserve.
that's all. I'm
Yeah, and I'm assuming that this guidance would, even if we wanted to, would keep us from funding flood related stuff because it's
just not eligible.
tangential.
Yeah.
They have said that you can use some ARPA funding as a potential match for some grants. But it's a little convoluted. how you go about doing that, and I, quite frankly, as a grant
Not go
writer, would
there.
rather not get into that.
Yeah, I wasn't suggesting.
No,
that,
I
I was
know,
just,
yeah.
Just me, I'm making it clear on
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
what
right.
we're about,
Yeah.
that's all. And yeah, the more clear.
This
we
is
can make it,
specifically
more
for COVID. I
succinct.
mean,
We will get the question though, because people are gonna be like, COVID's in the rearview mirror, we have this flood response in front of
Right.
us, and
Right.
you're looking in the rearview mirror, why don't you look at.
why aren't you rebuilding the levee with this money?
Anyways, cool, so no other comments, any other committee comments?
Thank you.
Thank you
Motion
for
to
being here,
adjourn.
everybody.
So moved.
All right, second. For adjournment,
Yes.
all those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Great, we're done, thank you.
And I have stopped
Did you drive?
recording.
Did you drive?
Yeah,
Can I get a ride with you?
absolutely.
I was riding my bike and the chain broke, so.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.